What's the number one challenge for businesses today?
Workforce development, attracting, recruiting, and retaining people.
And that's why we created this podcast, designed for the frustrated CEO, the under-resourced recruiter, or the overworked manager, to give you the tools to tackle those WTF moments.
It's time to open another workforce therapy file.
Welcome back to the Workforce Therapy Files. We're at the Kentucky SHRM Conference 2025, and I've got Rusty Steele here with me, dressed as the Incredible Hulk, by the way, for those of you who can't see. Rusty, thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, tell me what you do.
I'm the HR director for Oxmoor Auto Group.
Okay.
And I also serve on the Kentucky SHRM State Council.
Okay. I understand you're passionate about the local chapters and involvement.
Absolutely. Being a volunteer has really changed my life. I started volunteering right out of college, and I've really not looked back since.
Yeah.
It's helped me grow and develop a lot as a professional and as a person, and still is. But it's something that I'm really passionate about and want a lot more people to be able to engage with. There's a lot of opportunities to be able to get involved and do good in your community, both for altruistic reasons, but also for advancing the profession and kind of helping other people recognize what a great career choice HR is.
Yeah, I would imagine that if you're involved in a local chapter or a group, you're probably more likely to stick with the job or more likely to thrive in your job because you have peers that you can lean on to say, hey, I'm having this problem. What's going on?
Yeah, for me, it's twofold. So for me, I wanted to be involved with SHRM because it gave like the national membership, because that gave me access to resources, templates, and like information. You can go online and find any kind of information. Just not always right. You know? Yeah. We see this a lot with ChatGPT. So SHRM, having that resource is very, very helpful. But it's kind of only one side of the coin. The other side of that coin is having, kind of like you were mentioning, that community that you can lean on. And I mean, there's times I need an attendance policy. My boss is saying, write that. When I was 25 years old, or 23 years old, pardon, my boss said, write an attendance policy for our factory. We've gotten over 100, we were growing and whatever. And I was like, sure, I got that. And I walked away like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right?
And for those of you out there who say, I'll just throw it in ChatGPT is not always right, and they cannot comply with every state and federal law. So you do need to ask for help.
So that's what, 100%. And you can use ChatGPT as a place to start, or like, hey, I'm going to use this as a kind of a template or so on. So what I would do is I would use the SHRM template. Now I would use SHRM template and ChatGPT, and then I would reach out to my local chapter and I said, hey guys, I got to write this, and I need like now. Yeah. And within 2 hours, I had about 30 policies in my inbox. Wow. And I was like, okay, that's a factory similar to mine. That's similar to mine. I don't like that, don't love that, and I could kind of Frankenstein together one that worked for our group and worked for our company. Okay. Because there's a lot of good policies out there and a lot of good things out there, but being able to lean on to other people who've already done the work, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You're able to take things that you love about it and build your own. I say SHRM and local chapter membership, they raise me as a professional.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So if somebody's listening and they're like, yeah, maybe I should get involved, how would they go about that? What's the first step?
So it depends on where you're at. So I would recommend going to KentuckySHRM.org, and that is the state website, and there it has a list of all the local chapters. If you don't want to do that, you can always reach out to me on Facebook, Rusty Steele, or LinkedIn, Rusty Steele. I always love hooking somebody up with a local chapter. I can find one that's close to you. Okay. There's a map and a chapter list on our website as well, but I'm more of a people person, right? So yeah, I'm not like, I'm going to find a chapter and I'm just going to show up one day. Yeah. I would love to be able to make introductions from a stranger to a chapter to kind of help develop that relationship. Okay. So whether you're looking for your own personal professional development with education and the resources that chapters provide, or whether you're looking to be able to grow the profession and help pass it along because you're already arrived, if you will. Yeah. There's a lot to be had there. Okay. One way how I'm ending these little episodes right now is I got a question from the last guest. Oh, I love for you. This. Okay. And then you're going to ask a question of the next guest who you don't know who it's going to be. I love it. Okay, cool.
All right. His question to you, this is from Brian. Brian wants to know, why do you do what you do? What's your why?
I love that question. That's a great question. Because I get to help people in 20% days. So a lot of times people look at HR and like, I get it. You hate going to the HR office, right? But that's when people are having their 20% days. And I call those because 80% of my life, I'm doing great. I'm making great choices. I can tell my mom about those choices.
Yep.
20% of my life, I'm probably not the guy I want to be, right?
Yep.
Or I made a bad choice, whether it was a moment or a season in my life. Everyone has those 20% days.
Sure.
And oftentimes when those 20% days happen at work, they end up in my office. And being able to help that person through if they're just having a 20% day, if that's not who they are, right?
Yeah.
And being able to guide them back onto being an 80% person, right?
Yeah.
That's really impactful, and I love being able to do that. It doesn't happen all the time. There's far more, of the bad stories than there are the good, but when you get those good ones where you can help somebody from having a 20% day to having an 80% day, it's really rewarding.
Yeah, mentorship is so rewarding.
Yeah.
All right, so on the spot, but what would your question to the next guest be?
What is the worst professional advice you've ever received?
Oh, that's good. I like that. Okay. What is the worst professional advice you've ever received?
Yeah. I haven't always asked for the best, and it's always cliche. I find if you do the reverse, you kind of get some interesting conversations.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask that guest, so listen back in and see what they said.
Sounds great.
Hey, Rusty, awesome, man. Thank you.
Man.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Workforce Therapy Files. We hope you learned something new, and we're thankful for the time that you spent with us today. If there's a topic you'd like us to discuss, reach out to us. Our contact information's listed in the show notes. Until next time, keep your head up.